Greetings and welcome to another horrific review. I nearly forgot to press go live because we started another conversation again. His fault. Steve, welcome back, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, yeah.
Grand. Taking long. I can always complain, but we'll not make us a 3 hour rant.
No.
Won't actually get the movie in as well at some point.
The poor dog last time had her legs crossed upstairs. Let me out!
Oh dear, poor Oreo. Oh man, so yeah, this is your suggestion. The Changeling, and I thought because was the one with Angelina Jolie, was that a remake or is that just something
That
with the
was
same
a
name?
remake, I think. Yeah.
Was it an actual remake?
Yeah.
Because I didn't get any horror vibes whatsoever from that movie.
No. Yeah.
More of an action adventure thing.
Yeah. I'm sure it's down as a remake, that one.
Well, I need to check it out, but I wasn't really impressed the first time I watched it, so I was like, nah, just forgot about it. It was only sort of stirred the screen. Okay, stuff happening.
But I think The Changeling is one of those films that I've seen on, Prime or something like that, and thought, oh, I'll have to watch that, and then suddenly it came up on in Total Film. Just said, oh, it's a really scary movie for its time. So I thought, oh, I'll watch that, and that's when I said to you afterwards, it's actually, quite a scary movie if you take yourself back to 1980. It would have been deemed as quite a scary movie.
And that was the thing, because there's not really, because this is a psychological horror, and this is what I try to explain to people, that there's different, different brands, different subgenres, just different flavors of horror. Not everything's a slasher. This is an example of, apart from a skeleton, that's, there's no real gore and guts or like deaths, that sort of stuff. It's not one of those type of movies, but it's gripping and it's all about the storytelling. I really enjoyed this one. I have to say, it was a good watch.
It's quite a good sort of scary film for its age, and not only that, it's sort of edge of the seat stuff, and old style scares. I think take the wheelchair when the wheelchair comes towards the Claire, isn't it? It's like in 1980, that would have been really, really scary to someone because, we never had all these super duper special effects that you get now. And like we were discussing these days, that everything would have been CGI in the film.
But then that's the problem again, because it's all about, it's like a magician's stage show. When you know how the trick's done, the magic's gone.
Yeah.
So when it's CGI. Oh, it's CGI. The magic of how did they pull that off is just, it's not there. That's a shame, I think.
Yeah. And I think this is where cinema these days is just they're pushing out so many films every week that you're thinking, oh, it's going to be CGI, it's going to be CGI, and even if you think the new Spider-Man film is a cartoon.
Yeah.
But no, I like you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was old style horror, and it was quite gripping and scary in bits.
And there was actually reason, because as you know, the official policy of this channel is ghosts are stupid.
Yeah.
So this ghost actually makes sense. It's not just a woo, because I hate that. I hate it when it's a malevolent spirit just going. It's like, right, what do you want? Come on. Yeah. This actually pulled that off quite well. Very 70s-tastic though, even though it's made in 1980. This is a 70s movie.
Yeah.
Let's be real. Sorry, folks. I've still got this stupid cough and it won't go away.
The atmosphere of when sort of scary voice and everything in the kid, trying to contact John Russell, George C. Scott. Was very like the old '79 Amityville horror, and even the music made it feel that sort of environment.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because the character was essentially the house. They made
Yeah.
the house the character, and that's cool. I reviewed one last week, Death Ship. I loved that movie when it first came
Yeah.
out, and still holds up. But they made the ship you know, when you make your actual landscape, your set a
Yeah.
character as much as the actual human characters, that adds to it. That's why I'm trying to get a lot of you guys together to do the house series.
Yeah.
Nobody's answering me. It's like stuff you call. I'm not coming on camera with you. I'm not talking about those shitty movies. Come on.
Yeah. No,
'Cause-
the 70s, 80s sort of horror was sort of the introduction to horror. You know, you had the Friday the 13th and the Halloween series coming out, and then you had the
well,
Exorcist in
they were in their infancy.
Yeah.
Because I think at that stage they only had like one movie released. No, I mean it was only the Friday the 13th movie, the first of the Exorcist movies. That's a really good trilogy, by the way.
Oh, the Exorcist.
Yeah, I think that's one of the best trilogies.
Yeah.
Because you know, I normally buy the third one. They're like just that and the Omen. You know, that
Like
maybe the
Psycho.
best sort of horror trilogies. Yeah. God, what was the other one? Yeah, Halloween. Like the original was 1978. You know, obviously that was the stepping stones for a lot of like today. Problem is a lot of today's movies just can't hold a candle to them because there's no passion there.
No, that's
Apart
right.
from independent film, of course, you know, there's still you can still see the passion there.
Yeah.
Talking of which, our friends at Acrostar, they've just put out a teaser reel for Attack of the Corn Zombies. I just posted it on the channel before we started, so go
Ah.
check those guys out. They're a lot of fun.
Um.
I've got Magdalene in the like initial scene. I was talking to her. She's actually a really nice kid.
And I think the other thing in the Changeling was, you know what I'm like with mistakes. I pick up.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
But I felt in this one the mistakes were there, but you didn't have to care about them because it's a 1980s movie,
Mm-hmm.
and back in 1980 we didn't care, you know, about mistakes and continuity. It was a case of when's the next scare, you know, because like we said that you just didn't get this in cinema very much, so you were more on the when's the next scare. Oh my god, a wheelchair is chasing that woman.
Yeah.
You know, we don't
Cobwebs,
care.
you don't want to meet the spider. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
you know,
Flipping
we
monster
don't care about
cobwebs. You're like,
you don't care about the shadow of the cameraman in the background filming the wheelchair. You know, yeah.
no, that would never be forgiven now. One thing that's people maybe don't realize or maybe didn't pick up, but I definitely did. John Russell's character. This was a character-driven story,
Yeah.
and they spent quite a bit of time at the start going through his stages of grief because obviously it's on the trailer and you know the synopsis of the movie. He effectively loses his family in a tragic accident.
Yeah.
That was a strange one. The death scene. Obviously they cut it out. They hadn't got the level of special effects to pull it off. I think, or
No.
maybe was there still a bit of squeamishness about like children? You know, because it was a mother and daughter. Because even today, that's like one of the taboos. Actually, killing the kids in the movie.
Yeah.
There's only
Yeah.
a couple of movies have done it, and it still has that shock effect. Normally, kids are brushed off to the side or sent away somewhere,
Yeah.
or you've got your 30-year-old high school kids, in slasher movies.
Yeah. You would have. I think in this day and age, the mother would have had to push the kid out of the way to save them being knocked over or something like that, and then just the mother been hit. But yeah, it is very taboo subject, isn't it?
Yeah, but still, it was an action packed scene. I mean, you have a truck smashing into a car and just
Mm,
you know the editing's a wee bit jarring though at the start. I'd say
mm.
maybe because it didn't want to like go full graphic. It probably would have got in trouble with the film board for doing that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Back then, you would have
Mm,
Mary Whitehouse would have had a baby, wouldn't she?
yeah. God.
But that opening scene actually was one of the worst for continuity. If you notice it, yeah, the snow and ice on the road was solid at one point, and by the time the truck come down, it was
That
all
was all.
slush.
Was it? Yeah, they've done about 6 takes. But that's what I mean. But the editing is so choppy.
Yeah,
That was a bit that jumped out at me at the start. You know, I forgive the rest, but at the start, that you could almost see where they've spliced the film together to
yeah.
make it. It's just so jumpy from the truck at the top and the car at the bottom, and then it was always like blip, blip, blip. It was like
And
Pac-Man going across the screen, blip, blip, blip. It was so jarring, to watch it. You're like, oh god, I hope the whole movie isn't like this.
yeah, but no, I mean, like I said, I picked up on the snow went from really thick ice to slush, like hundreds of cars had gone through it, and
Hmm.
then it went back to the faux ice again, and so yeah, it was quite good fun, but
Yeah.
mm,
But what it did though, it set up the scene of the loving family, the good nature, just a bit of a hiccup. Really shouldn't have turned to tragedy, but it did. But then we see the stages of grief with Russell's character, which I thought was interesting because normally movies like this don't play into that.
no,
They kind of gloss over it as quickly as possible, but they actually they took him through the stages of like denial, shock, like when he's
yeah.
walking around his apartment, just completely zoned out somewhere else. He's like, "Did this happen?"
I think it was intentional in a certain way because the Joseph
Hmm.
was actually playing on sort of John Russell being full of grief, that he was quite open to being not manipulated but um,
Contactable, sort of thing.
contact.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sympathetic. It was
yeah. I think
tragedies happened to you. Look what's happened to me. Yeah,
yeah,
but they actually took the time. I think that's the point I'm trying to make. They actually took the time to show that he was still in grief because then we'll say a year later,
yeah,
and he's putting on, and I almost fell for it. If that makes sense, almost as
yeah,
if, oh right, oh that scene's over, sort of thing.
yeah,
Because he's talking to people, oh I'm fine, and puts on the stoic face. But then it showed the scene in the bed where he just burst into tears when he's by himself and not performing for people, putting
yeah.
on the brave face. He's a broken man still, and normally, like horror movies in particular, don't go to that level
No,
of characterization. And that's where I've always said, if you tell a good story, you can add the horror stuff on. But that's
yeah,
the basic. You tell a good story, people will always revisit your work.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah,
It
that sorry.
was good that they've done it really with sort of they kept it in, didn't they, all the time? It was the grief seemed to be like an umbrella of right over the film.
Hmm.
For probably the first hour of it, really, um, and how, like I said, how open he was to being contactable, and because of his grief, he was acting on somebody else's grief as well. Joseph's
Hmm.
the grief of being murdered, but.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
that's it's one of the few movies because if you've obviously hear me talk, especially paranormal type movies, I don't have a lot of time for them because I just think they're oversimplified and the ghosts in particular make no sense
no,
because the movies focus more on the jump scares than the actual why won't
yeah,
this ghost cross over? Why is it stuck? Why is it, you know, lashing out even when somebody's trying to help it? Just a lot of and it's just bad storytelling.
yeah,
But here we'll have a ghost with purpose, and the sort of set it up. Nobody's been to the house in years. People won't rent it or they leave. And then we'll have Russell come in, and then that seems to be that a genuine connection gets made.
Yeah.
I can't think of another movie. Possibly Stir of Echoes,
Yeah.
where there's
Have
an
it-
actual connection between the protagonist and the spirit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I,
Um,
I really can't think of another one because most of them are they're lame ducks.
mm,
They focus on woo scary stuff and then
yeah.
no rhyme the reason. Then you end up because if you're a horror fan, let's be honest, jump scares and frightening, you stop being frightened after a long time and you start looking for something else.
Uh, these days, they wouldn't just stop at a scary voice. You'd have one of the characters in the seance, say, being thrown backwards against a door and everything, wouldn't you? But
Yeah, all sort of weird stuff. That's seance because that's what basically happens. The disturbance start happening, and it wasn't until it's Joseph effectively got no because he had kept the dresser table that his wife had restored,
yeah,
and he kept his daughter's ball,
yeah,
and out of everything, sorry, sorry, very professional this. Um, uh, but those were the two things that resonated. But when the Joseph was actually bouncing the ball down, and it was after that moment he actually goes so far as to go to the bridge,
yeah,
and drop it in the river, and then basically as soon as he comes back, it drops down wet, and you're like, wow, this is a powerful spirit, and also it debunks the idea of the spirit being tied to the property.
yeah, yeah. And then you ask yourself, well, perhaps the kid played in the river when it was a child. Who knows? Um,
Well,
yeah,
no, because we'll see later on in the movie, obviously, that he's not restricted to the house when we meet the detective.
yeah,
Uh, so it makes me wonder. This is a powerful spirit. Why is it wait? Why did it wait for Russell? Or did Russell unlock something?
yeah. But then the house hadn't been let out for 12 years, had it?
Mm-hmm.
It was belonging to the historical society or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, they couldn't get people to stay. They tried and it didn't work, and then they gave up.
Yeah. So
But
perhaps when John Russell went there, it was the first person that the ghost could have that sort of relationship with, because they both had the grief element of
mm-hmm,
John Russell had the grief of his daughter and wife, and the kid was he was murdered, and he was trying to get someone to actually say, "I'll listen to you," type of thing. I'll do something about this for you.
mm-hmm.
Uh,
And
so
it was interesting because flip's sake, that seance thing, like he didn't just get a medium, he got all the mediums. Like he
yeah,
got every flavor. I was like, he went to university. He's like, right, where's your parapsychology section over there? Right, folks, we got one back to
everyone.
my house.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought the woman who was doing all the scribbling,
mm-hmm.
I thought she played the part fantastic.
And the deadpan voice,
Yeah,
but
it's just so. Are you there? Tell us what do you? And it's
the
yeah,
music. But I think there should have been a few disco balls, and definitely there should have been two sitars playing in the corner.
yeah,
Like that's just what this was a classic. David Bowie should have appeared at some point. Like that's how trippy the actual seance scene was. Because you know why the ones that have them and they take themselves way too seriously
yeah,
and they're rubbish. But this one, they just went full 70s bunkerness.
yeah, yeah. It's I thought it was very good that bit.
I enjoyed it. I'm not actually slanging on. I'm just like it's a
Yeah,
product of its time. And if they had have tried to play it straight or they hadn't went that way, I don't think it would have had the same impact.
No. Again, it was a scene with one of the mistakes in. You actually saw a cameraman shadow in the seance, and also the papers. They went from being spread over the table to being in a neat pile afterwards. But again, if you don't look for those sort of things, that seance was actually quite scary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it was the medium who was doing all the writing and everything. I mean, what she was scribbling at one point, she was really shaking her hand all over the place, and you were thinking, "Oh my God, what's going to happen here?
Yeah.
You know, is she going to fly backwards, or have a breakdown, or you just didn't know what was going to come out
And
of
that was
it.
the thing. Until that point, we didn't know it was Joseph. We thought it was the sister, Mary.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
thought that the daughter, his sister, had died, and
yeah,
that was the ghost. And then it actually came out that it was Joseph. And then this is where the whole tone of the movie changes, because technically Joseph's still alive and walking about and
yeah.
doing his sentence and stuff. How to say, what is it about Yankistan and like their politicians? Like, why are they all geriatrics? Like this has been a theme,
Yeah,
and even real life, like it's like a nursing home.
yeah, I
Their
know.
politicians. I know we get slagged off because our MPs are all sex pests, but it seems to be in America they just have fucking. You
Hmm.
must be 90 years old to do anything. It's weird.
With a Zimmer frame.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's
I would like to smell one of them chambers afterwards. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, it's- yeah. I mean, it was a bit of a typecasting where they thought, well, this is a senator, he must be old, um, and by being old, he's going to think, oh, I've done something wrong, and I'm going to say that I haven't, but then at the end I'm going to kill myself. Um, it was a typical like I'm old type of senator, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we didn't just get the reveal straight away, because then that once they had the revelation that it was Joseph,
Mm.
then it came that okay, let's start investigating what happened. Then they realize he's still kicking about,
Yeah.
and yeah, they start looking into all the aspects of it. When did the dream happen? I'm trying to remember there the first time the dream that Russell was part of,
Uh,
where Joseph was actually drowned, because that was the whole thing.
oh
Joseph
yeah,
was
yeah. Sort of
that was actually quite rough, to be honest.
the father was pushing him down in
Well, he
the
pulled his legs up,
yeah,
and
yeah,
actually to use a kid in a scene like that was actually quite, like I said, that was quite rough, even though it wasn't graphic violence. But got the wee kid to play that part in the bathtub, and then they connected all the sounds of him bashing against the bathtub with the sounds in the house.
mm,
And that's why I'm saying this is a clever movie in terms of ghosts, because normally ghosts are just, like I said, thick. But then everything that's happening in the house has a reason. It's all tied to this event.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And what certificate was it back in 1980? Then was it?
God, that was
They used to have the old X, didn't they? And
oh, the
um,
video Nazis. I remember trying to explain that to Cameron. He couldn't get his head around it.
yeah,
What it was like in the UK in the 70s and 80s.
yeah, the yeah, because horror films in the 70s, they were the certification was X, which is now 18, isn't it? Um, so if you went to see an X-rated movie I can't remember when it changed. I think it was in the 80s it changed.
Yeah. What's UA? United Kingdom was 15.
15.
No, wait, hang on. It's got two here. So they must have had two cuts of it because they put it out as a 15. Oh, it was originally rated as an X.
Ah, yeah,
That would, do you know what? That would explain the choppy editing.
yeah,
And in America it was R, whatever that means.
yeah.
Yeah, so it was originally an X. So this could have been a video nasty.
Yeah. Yeah, X is sort of the last stage in the 80s before it got banned.
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, the next stage after X was banned. You're not going in the cinema. But, yeah, I did wonder because of the situation with the kid, being put in the bath, etc.
Yeah.
That would in 1980 that would have given it the X-rated classification.
Yeah, but even today, that was a rough scene.
Yeah, it was on more or less on
Emotionally
the
heavy.
verge.
It wasn't graphic, but it was emotionally like harrowing.
Yeah, again, kid. What we were saying about kids,
Mm-hmm.
where it's a no-no to kill children. Um, yeah, it was quite a bad thing, really. But yeah, and but the story around that came across, wasn't it? Where the kid was disabled, wasn't he, and suffering from something,
Yeah,
and
obviously the kid didn't know, and it was kept a secret, so we didn't really get
yeah,
a proper
need,
diagnosis. Plus, this is nine. Don't forget the thing was 1909. The actual event took place 1909.
yeah,
So even
yeah.
then, just the beginning of the 20th century. So the thing got
Supposedly took him abroad to be made better, wouldn't
fixed.
he?
Yeah,
And come back with another one. Yeah. Mm.
you could believe it. That's why I don't agree. Like personally, I don't have anything to see status or people that chase status or want to be groveled to. I've no time for them because if that's all, they're the sort of people that would do this
Yeah. Yeah.
just to keep appearances or save face, and I don't get it. Like it just completely anathema to me. Just why
Yeah.
people need that.
I think based in 1909 as well, that would have been quite a thing, wouldn't it, to have especially if you were political,
Oh yeah,
um,
they've been yeah
to have a
yeah
child who was in some way disabled or diseased or
yeah.
you
But it was
know,
the same in as royalty and stuff. Royal families would have presented their child to the naked, held it up to show, oh, no blemishes, sort of thing.
yeah,
It was a tradition. Just it's back to our lizard brains. As a species, it's survival of the fittest. It's the pack of the herd mentality.
yeah,
If a foal has a one leg shorter than the other three, it gets left behind.
mm,
Um, the way people try to act like we're not the same, it's just funny because we're exactly the same. In fact, we're worse because we deny it.
Do Do you think then that George C. Scott was perfectly cast in the film? I thought
Mm-hmm.
because of he does grief so well in films. As the man who's like having the bad things happen to him. And I thought he was very good at it because he didn't overact that
No,
he
that's what I mean. He was being stoic. He was going through he actually showed, like I said, that confusion,
yeah,
denial at first, and then the putting on the brave face. But in his private moments,
yeah,
we'll see him, he's absolutely broken. And even when he has that out of his system, it's still there. I mean, that's his, he's somebody that would never recover from it. Like there was a hint at a potential romance when they brought Claire in,
Yeah.
but she was never getting it, and that was actually very well played because if he had just, in a more modern movies, he would have forgotten about his wife and children and jumped into bed with her, and they'd have been together
Yeah.
for the rest of the movie as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
But it made it quite clear she was kind of enamored with him, but she was never getting in
Yeah.
because of that, that barrier of grief.
Yeah. Yeah.
And actually, that's what made this movie, like I said, that's what made this movie more compelling. They took the time to build that character up, and yeah, he played it to a T.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he's because he's George C. Scott. He wasn't. I mean, he was well known, but he wasn't one that someone would have. A director would have gone, "Who are we going to get this? Let's get George C. Scott." Would they? They would have.
He was what I class as a working actor,
Yeah.
a solid working actor. We need somebody for a role, we need this, but not the excuse me, not the A-lister type, star. But
Yeah.
that's again, you had your blockbuster movies, and the 80s was the beginning of the blockbuster era.
Yeah.
You had your medium movies, you had your low budget movies. Where today this is gone, the medium movies have gone completely wiped out of cinema altogether.
Yeah. Yeah.
People view them now as a streaming movie, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. Well, a lot of films are, aren't they, these days?
yeah,
It's
which same because you're just getting the same. That's why people are getting fatigued as well, because you're just saying the same thing on repeat.
yeah. If you yeah, because you can. I mean, this one I saw on Amazon Prime, and it wasn't until I heard about it that I thought, oh, I'll see if it's on one of the free channels that I've got. Well, they're not free, but so you just speak into your Amazon thing and said the Changeling, and it comes up. It's on Amazon Prime, and otherwise, it would have probably meant renting it if I really wanted to watch it, or yeah, there's an awful lot of movies that come up on things like Prime and Disney and everything, and you think, I've never heard of this movie. It's gone straight to DVD type of thing, straight to stream, but you've got some of the old top stars. You're talking of the Nicolas Cages, and before Bruce Willis was ill, there was a lot of Bruce Willis films, and that were just streaming films. They you never saw them in the cinema or anything. But
No, and that's fair enough. It's because there always was straight to DVD. There was TV movies and stuff that I mean. There's different outlets,
yeah,
and that's cool because you get variety. It's I think the problem now with cinema is everything's just the same. It's just your blockbuster CGI, capes and cowl type stuff or similar. It's just it takes a lot for me now to go to the cinema, and it's usually only because of this show.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, oh, I've got to review something. I've got to actually go out of the house and force myself to go to the cinema.
Yeah. This it actually made quite a few millions of dollars. This one.
I forgot to look that up.
If you, I think if you transfer the amount it made into sort of today's thing, it was quite I'm trying to think what I read. It cost 7.6 million, I think it was, budget. It made something like 55.
That's a good. You look at movies now, can barely break even.
Yeah, I know.
Unless they do $1 billion, the movies now can barely break even, and they're especially with reshoots.
Yeah.
And they still make mistakes, and they make the movie worse once the committee gets involved. But the fact is that this was shot, it was made. It's a gripping story. That's
Yeah.
the main thing I'll take away from this. It's actually an engaging story, and you're going along with the plot.
Yeah, and you're wondering. It's like I said, it's sort of edge of the seat because you're wondering what's going to happen next. It's not. It's not. I'm
It's
trying to
not
think.
banish the ghost or call in the medium. It's
You,
okay. What do you want? How can I
you,
help you?
you can't tell what's going to happen next
Yeah.
if you watch it for the first time. His wife and daughter die. He moves to this house. There's a ghost in the house. You don't know why the ghost is targeting him, and then gradually it brings in the story where the kid was drowned, and yeah, it's
I'll tell you about this complete
brilliant
fantasy
story.
in this, and
Yeah,
it's just completely unbelievable. Is when he's sitting after the seance because they recorded it, and
yeah.
he's using the 8 track, and the way he's stopping it and starting it, and that spool didn't break.
Ah, right, yeah,
Yeah. Don't believe that for a second.
yeah,
Well, that didn't get caught up. If you ever, do you remember trying to even like a VHS? If you messed about and you forward and rewound it too much, it
yeah.
would get. That was it.
Stretch out,
Yeah,
stretching, going around all the rollers and
yeah.
everything.
And those things were only playable in the 8 track like once or twice because I was. Funny enough, you might find this surprising. I'm a wee bit of a nerd. I
Yeah,
know it's a shock to everybody that knows me at all.
not you, not you.
No, not at all. So I wouldn't have like looked for one of these things and played about it to go, oh, it's absolutely no use whatsoever, but I want one.
Yeah,
But yeah, you messed about with those things and like old school editing, even cassette tape and stuff was just with that magnetic, tape was just so hard.
yeah. I think my mum actually had a one of the school tapes.
Mm-hmm.
This is sad. She used to have a microphone. It was like a little rectangular thing about that big, and she used to record her Des O'Connor records onto the spool tape. And he said, well, why don't you just play the records, Mum? And she used to put it on this spool tape thing. Yeah.
God, we've all
So,
been nurtured.
but
That was the double deck tape recorder. That was the epitome
yeah,
of modern technology. When that
yeah.
thing came out, oh, and then getting on the radio and trying to record the song just before they cut it off of the ad. You're like,
Sunday top 40.
mm-hmm.
But to show how those things are still used, up at one of the universities in Plymouth, because it's got two, um, uh, there's a guy up there who specialises in music, and he's got every type of analog music thing
Mm-hmm.
that you could wish for, and they still use them to record some stuff up there. And yeah, he's got literally everything. You'd go in there and you'd think it's a junk shop, but if someone says, "Oh, have you got this type of thing?" Because we need to use it for this. Yeah, I've got one of them. And um, yeah, so it's the old style is still usable, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It's
I have a cassette deck built into my. I have a hi-fi system with a cassette deck,
yeah, yeah.
and I got the 40th anniversary of Number of the Beast
Oh
cassette tape when it came out, and God, cassettes sound terrible.
yeah.
Clunked
But
it in, clunk.
yeah,
Oh, the sound is
when you used to have
horrendous.
to rewind it. Uh,
Or the spools, whatever. If you ever made a mistake with a spool, so side A
yeah.
finished, but then there's a gap on side B before the actual song started. It was Use Your Illusion 1 that did that with the cassette. So you've got like 5 minutes before November Rain comes on the B side
Oh yeah,
of just silence.
yeah.
And that's God, what a rugby medium. But here, great works were made. Let's not thumb our nose at the past because this is an example of it. With the technology at the time, it was still possible to make great works. And there's so much stuff today that people have all the technology, all the ease, and they're making forgettable movies. Like you forget about it before you even finish watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the Changeling.
Yeah,
I, I would well recommend it to anyone who wants if someone says to me, "Oh, what's a good film to watch?"
oh, definitely. And also, I was going to say, Second Sight Films. I get some of their box sets now and again. They're actually releasing. I think the pre-orders start this month.
Yeah.
I sent you a link on your Facebook.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's
Yes.
actually they do good collector sets. With books and the postcards, and they'll do a 4K upgrade.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if this movie will work, because when I watched Suspiria 4K upgrade, it just ruined it because of all the trickery they used to hide the
Yeah.
special effects all got laid bare.
Yeah.
There's this scene where the Alsatian is ripping the guy's throat out.
Mm.
You watch it in the original version, it's still good because they've got the smoke and stuff. Then the 4K version, it's a glove, it's a hand puppet.
Yeah.
And you're like, nobody read that. Go back and go, yeah, maybe not do that.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see this with an upgrade, actually.
They'd probably pick up stuff on American Werewolf, because in that one they used Rick Baker did the scene with the hand when he was
Mm.
changing, didn't he? And he had to build up on it each time. And yeah, I hate to think what that would be like in 4K.
Yeah, I said sometimes because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And to me, do the 4K cleanup, but then you need to go over it again and make sure that it still has the essence of the movie.
Yeah.
Because if the one thing about the technology at the time, because it was clunky, they could hide stuff,
Yeah.
and you have to kind of remember that.
Yeah. And if they didn't hide it, the cinema goer, like in 1980, wouldn't have cared. They were
Completely different experience.
they were more out to get the thrills, and everything. And if they saw this one, they'd be thinking, "How am I going to be scared next? What's going to happen next?"
Well, I'll not
Rather
lie.
than rather than like me, "Oh my God, there's a cameraman in the corner." But yeah,
But then again, that's how you get fun out of movies as well. You get as much enjoyment of caught you.
yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have done it back then.
Mm.
It's just, I think it's mainly since technology has come into films that you think, well, that should not have happened in this day and age. With the up to date stuff.
Especially when they spend twice as much in a movie these days on a reshoot as opposed to just putting it out. Like, let's be honest, this movie would not have been reshot.
No.
It would have just been shot. That's it. And then the editing team would have had to do their best. Like
Yeah.
you said, with the opening scene, with I mean, they must have done that truck to get
Yeah.
it. They must have had a few takes. So
But if,
that's obvious. The editing team then have to do their best to splice and
yeah.
do what they can. They wouldn't have had the money or the budget to actually go out and reshoot that scene again.
No. No, they wouldn't have. Back then, they wouldn't have been able to say, "Oh, can I have some more money to do this?" Like,
Nah.
"Oh yeah, you've had this day and age. Oh, you've had 200 million. How much do you want? Oh, can I have another 50 million?" Back
Is
then,
that
it
even
was,
sustainable?
uh,
That's one thing I don't get about a lot of these corporations now, because you're seeing they're losing money hand over fist. They're burning money like it's fucking confetti paper. That can't last forever.
no. Where does this money come from? Who can say, who can say, "Oh, Colin, can I have 300 million to make the next Spider-Man movie?" And yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure, why not?
Where's it coming from? Especially when British cinema struggles to, get the backing. If you take a lot of Rise of the Foot Soldier
Oh yeah,
franchise.
who's that? McCann, isn't it? He
Uh,
plays exactly the same character in every movie he does.
is,
East London Gangster.
is it? Oh,
Pat? No, Pat's the character. But that actor who plays
yeah,
him.
Pat. Oh, what's he called? He's been in. He was in a film with Sylvester Stallone, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. I watched one there with Scott Adkins not too
Yeah.
long ago. There.
But
He just plays the same character.
they did a crowdfunder online to actually raise money to film a couple of the Rise of the Foot Soldier films.
Hmm.
And you know, the people who were um, giving money to the crowdfunder were given the chance of being in the film. You
Bravo.
know, just, if they put this money up. Um, but
I like the one with Vinnie Jones. I like Vinnie Jones as an actor. Actually,
yeah,
I'm not a football fan, but he was one of the only footballers. Him, Eric Cantona, Paul Gascoigne that I actually took note of because they
yeah,
were interesting characters. Um, you couldn't pay me to watch a football match.
no,
I just like, why am I here? What have I done to offend you? You make me watch this crap. But as an actor, I really like Vinnie Jones. He kind of had a miscalling there.
yeah. It's, and it's nice that he was able to do something after his footballing career. Because a
Mm-hmm.
lot of them just
Other just,
they reach 40, don't they? And they're playing for the local Sunday team and things like that.
but that's lack of vision. That's one thing. I'm not too fussed in rugby now because it's went too political. But that was the thing I always liked about rugby. Every rugby player had a career lined up. They had a plan B,
Yeah,
so that they played their sport for the love of the sport,
yeah,
and they didn't worry about being superstars. In fact, on the rugby pitch, if you're a superstar, you become a target. Um, like once they figured out how to take John Olumu down, he couldn't basically appear in the pitch. That was him. And Johnny Wilkinson, once he got his head in lights, that was it. Every match he was getting creamed.
yeah, yeah,
It didn't pay to be a superstar in a rugby pitch, but yeah, football just never got. But no, I really like Vinnie Jones. I really enjoy his stuff,
yeah,
and he's played a variety of characters as well. He's not just the same one. It's
yeah. I mean, I could go into how inaccurate the Rise of the Foot Soldier films are.
God, they're
From
not even.
number three onwards, just it went.
They've run out of story. That's the problem.
Yeah,
Because they've already told the story. We know what it's based on,
yeah,
leading up to events. But then they're just making filler, and then get into fantasy direction, just
yeah.
to create more movies. But yeah, I'm not a big fan. I'm not a
Craig,
massive fan
Craig
of.
Fairbrass.
Oh, Craig Fairbrass, yeah,
Yeah, he
he
was.
plays exactly the same character. You look at his catalog of work.
Yeah, he played.
East London gangster.
Yeah, he was in a film with Sylvester Stallone about a rock climber. Trying to think,
Oh God, that
um,
yeah, freaking
he,
Sylvester.
he
Was
played
that
the
one he directed?
he played the same characterization in that one as well. Oh,
Cliffhanger,
Cliff.
1993.
Yeah,
Right. And this is what actually went. I know we're off in tangents here again, folks, but we'll get back to the movie. It's just a wee bit of it's actually there's not that much in the way of plot. Like once we figure out what happens, it kind of the pace of the movie just ramps up. But if Sylvester Stallone was stop bloody self-uncertain, he would have had a career as a fantastic director.
yeah.
And he is not a rock climber.
No.
That's the stupidity of it. Rock climbers are lean, like super lean.
Yeah.
Like I did a bit of climbing at the time, and there's no way I was free climbing. I was cramping it on. It's because I'm a big lad, I'm chunky bloke.
Yeah.
I'm more of a get up there with a kit sort of thing, not like that French guy, that French guy, free climbs up beside the buildings and stuff. He was a big thing in the 80s.
Yeah. The
That's a builder rock. It seems like he did the Formula One driver one. You're like, you're not a Formula One driver. You're
no.
not built. All I need Sylvester Stallone was to turn up as like a champion diver. You know what I mean? Swimming, like him standing next to like Tom Daly or something. Going, Nate, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Because he's directing the movie, he has to put himself in it. It's like, what the hell?
Even the last Rambo film.
Oh God, no!
I mean, Sylvester Stallone had put on so much weight, he looked nothing like his original Rambo character.
And he wouldn't shut up. I think we talked about this, didn't we? Did he just... No, it was somebody else.
No.
Yeah, he just yapped the whole way through that movie.
Yeah.
What was that one? Was it the one before it, Rambo, where he's on the boat in Indonesia?
Burma, wasn't it?
Burma, yeah, Burma, Indonesia border, wasn't it? Does
yeah.
Burma? It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Burma and Indonesia are close.
Are they close? I don't know my geography.
Because they've had the odd scuffle from time to time, I think.
Yeah.
Apologies if I got that wrong, folks. It's not intentional. And
you just caused a world war there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Flipping, there's a brand new conflict broke up because Dumbo here on a YouTube channel said the wrong thing. Okay, well, you want to blame me for that? Go for it. I don't think that's me if that's how strongly you feel about things.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's Chris. Welcome. Good to have you on board.
Oh, he's awake, is he?
Yeah.
Hello, Chris.
They're only starting today. I told him both you and him are on bloody thin ice after all the Beaster Bunny jokes. These are both on probation, telling you. That was rough. Oh, man. Here.
He's hopped
with
off.
This, when he goes, they start to twig on what happened and he gets the messages.
Yeah.
I love how the casually go into somebody's house and go, we need to chainsaw through your floor.
We need to build, there's a well under your floor. Can I have a look, please?
And then she goes, no. So, and then actually, this is funny because they may as well have told Joseph, sorry, she said no. And then he goes, haunts the daughter. It's like, okay, come back. I'm like, you said this big bastards. Like, it's just like, imagine having a pet ghost going, said no, go and do your thing, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, she said yes now because I haunted her.
I think this is the kind of 70s vibe where people can be over the top and blasé about things at the same time.
Yeah.
It's a weird combination, and I don't think any other ear's ever done it.
No. But the police turned up, didn't they? And
yeah, but why didn't Richard, the father, I don't understand why he didn't fill the well in.
Yeah.
If you're about to build a house, there's your excuse to fill the well in.
How could that house have been built on a well? Because
unless they were using it, but it wasn't a functioning well. I can understand it as a spring. It actually feeds the house, but there's no sense.
If you take it where I live, we live in the old mine country, where there were 2 international mines, coal mines, but they won't build anything on the grounds where the mines are situated for the fear that
the house just disappear.
Same with a well, surely. You don't well, we won't do anything with that well. We'll just build on top of it.
Or, like I said, even it was 1980, so a ton of concrete should have been poured down it.
Yeah.
But the fact that and it wasn't even like they just chainsawed off the floorboards, and there you go, fully functioning well.
It still had all it had was mud in it, wasn't it?
And it was perfectly preserved. It was like usable. You know what I mean? They could have used it. I was like, okay.
And the 70-year-old skeleton was quite in good condition, wasn't it?
It was quite fresh.
Yeah. But yeah, because I think after 70 years, surely the bones would have started.
Especially when it was in soil. It wasn't if it was in airtight. Look at crypts.
Mm,
You know, if they open it up and they're like the coffins are sealed, there's still decay, and
yeah,
the bones are brittle like paper. But
yeah,
in the earth, sure, that's why they have to do. Well, obviously, you know, if you're doing research, but they have the DNA test sometimes, suspected sites, because there's no actual physical evidence.
no,
So sometimes you have to actually do DNA tests on the soil to see if there was a body there.
yeah. Um,
Oh, that wasn't available in the 80s, but
they
I'm just
don't
saying.
they don't need much these days to get a piece of DNA.
No,
It's you know um,
but the
the,
physical skeleton would have been long gone.
the oh yeah, but this hand was there, wasn't it? I dug up a hand, and it was like, oh,
But we as horror fans would have forgiven it because Joseph still was
yeah.
connected to the skeleton. I loved the little bit with the necklace. Like that completely, I didn't know where that was going at all.
No one found it, and suddenly it came up, didn't
It
it?
comes up through the earth. You're like, oh, that was actually quite cool.
Yeah, and you would have accepted that
Yeah,
as part of the scare. You would
yeah, I
think,
still
oh,
accepted it. I'm like going, oh,
yeah,
what's this? And it hadn't mentioned it.
no, it was the supernatural element, wasn't it?
Yeah. So he kept his. He was able to keep his own bones preserved to be
Yeah,
found, and
yeah,
he wanted this mystery. You know, he basically wanted closure.
yeah,
Thing is, though, this is a powerful spirit.
yeah, yeah,
This is one of the most powerful spirits I've encountered, and like next to Poltergeist,
yeah.
the Poltergeist movies.
I mean, the spirit was quite nasty in a way. When it threw that wheelchair at the woman,
Yeah, I was going to ask that. It
it
didn't make
was
sense. I know he was frustrated, but at the
yeah,
same time, why did he attack Claire? Sure, that wasn't going to help his cause.
no, but again, it was some type of anger that along the lines you just mentioned Poltergeist,
Mm-hmm.
Steven Spielberg, 1979. Was it 79? No,
78.
yeah. Um, and that Poltergeist, he was very, violent, really. And if you take that and put it to this film, the ghost was quite an angry ghost, wasn't he? Joseph
Mm-hmm.
was really, um,
But at the same time, I think after the bath scene and the way he was treated, like I was
mm,
getting Florence of the Attic vibes. You know, the fact that he's locked up in the attic and
yeah,
effectively a prisoner and embarrassment and like hated on by the family, and then eventually murdered by his father. You know, I'd be a bit annoyed too.
yeah.
But
But why take it out on the girl?
yeah, that's the bit where I kind of lost
All she
sympathy.
was
I'm like,
trying to do was help. Um,
it's not as if they were trying to cover him up. That's the
no,
thing. More had happened since he met Russell to actually bring his story to light
yeah,
than in nearly 100 years. So was it maybe the whole he was so close, he was actually tasting the closure, and then the fact that it didn't go to plan?
which is human nature.
Yeah, and it was a child. It was a child at the end of the day. So
Yeah,
obviously, you die as a child, you stay a child. I think that's do ghosts learn? No, I don't think they do. That's the problem. They're stuck in that state, aren't they?
yeah,
Of the
in between.
trauma at the time of their death.
Yeah, yeah. I think that if someone dies at the age of 18, their mindset stays at the age of
Yeah,
18.
they're kind of stuck in that moment,
Yeah,
and so yeah, what might be seen as a childish tantrum was
yeah,
actually too powerful because like I said, when he picks up the necklace, they actually discover that this is Joseph Carmichael, and who the hell is this Joseph Carmichael that's running about as a senator?
Yeah.
And then that's it's easy to forget that bit of the story, believe it or not.
Yeah.
At the start, not even realize where it's going until that moment.
Mm.
And then we actually, he tracks down the senator and, confronts him. And then the whole movie changes pace.
Yeah. I liked how the senator as well did his normal thing and thought that all John Russell wanted was money.
Mm-hmm.
That's their standard thing, isn't it? How much do you want? I don't want your money,
But he wasn't. This is the thing. That's where I had a bit of trouble. Because we already see, I know it was actually underplayed, to be honest.
Mm.
His ability or famous as a composer, because he was only really talking to family and friends and completely shut down. But that scene in the university where he comes in and he only had, it was only meant to be 23
That's
people
right.
enrolled for his class.
He says, "Oh, there was hundreds there, wasn't there?"
Yeah, the whole thing was packed to the gills.
Yeah,
It was very understated, though.
yeah,
It
yeah.
wasn't like he wasn't a pop star.
No, but did you notice in one of the scenes where he is playing the piano that the music starts before he actually plunks one of the piano keys? He's there, and then he starts going. It was like almost, when are they going to start this piece of music that I'm supposed
But
to?
he wouldn't have heard that. That would have been
No,
done in the editing. Don't forget, this is monologue editing.
yeah,
And if you've ever tried to do it, it's hard.
yeah, long
It's
time
hard
ago.
enough with digital.
Yeah,
Like when I'm doing my pre-recorded stuff, in fact, I actually got some submissions today. It was quite cool. Need to answer the emails. So we'll be getting Horrific Tales started up again soon. But
yeah,
trying to get the audio to go in pace with the music, even digitally,
yeah,
can be quite tricky. And when I try to blend in, like I've got I'm using my loops and stuff. When there's a quiet scene, I'm trying to get it to blend into the horror part and have my voice going at a certain pace.
yeah.
If I was doing that using tapes, God, it would be all over the show.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing editing, especially
No.
sound and voice. And if you look at some of my earlier efforts, which I've started putting up, my syncing between God, there's just one I tried to do it. Actually, ended on somebody else's channel, but it was like lip syncing with a song.
Yeah.
So we did like my buddy Adam. He had a channel. We were doing like a challenge of lip syncing with songs. So I
Yeah.
was doing the Irish Rover, and my setup was crap. My camera was an old camera, and basically did it on my laptop. I didn't have this setup.
Yeah.
And it was so clunky. And me trying to get the audio to go with my actions
Yeah.
it was horrendous. And then I had to go, Adam, mate, help me out. This is shit. Can you do something with this? Because I can't. I'm just making an absolute arse of it. And that's using digital technology.
My son would know more about that because, like I said, he does all this
We need to
producing.
get Gaz on. We need to talk about that movie. We need to get Gaz on.
Red, white, and what's it called? Red, white, and black or something.
We need to review that movie and then get Gaz
I'll
and
get
talk
a
about his
copy of
music.
him. But yeah, he's. I mean, he's. His music is.
But he'll tell you it's not easy.
What was it? Someone said, well, the music was good, but the film was shit.
And that's that'll be fun to talk about actually.
But he also done the music during the last flight of the Concorde.
Mm-hmm.
There was a film without music on YouTube, I think it was, and he actually took the film off YouTube and put some music over it, and he actually wrote a piece specifically for the YouTube film of just the Concorde on its last flight, and it actually sounds absolutely fantastic. But yeah, when he's got nothing better to do, he'll take a clip of like the promo for Joker.
Mm-hmm.
he took the music off that was originally there and composed his own for the the promo.
Mm-hmm.
So he does things like that. It's crap pop, but yeah, this red boy in black, I think it was called.
Hit him
And
up after
yeah,
this and get
I
him.
will.
Yeah, and we'll maybe get that organized. That'd be a fun episode.
Yeah, but,
Get that out there. But yeah, it's not easy. So things like that, especially in the 80s, I can forgive and even just gloss over. In
yeah.
fact, if I had been pitch perfect, I'd have been worried, or not worried, but scratch my head going, "Oh wow."
But it goes back to what I said.
Mm-hmm.
If you weren't me, would you have noticed it?
No,
Would,
well,
would,
that's what I said. Even this one,
the music would have started, and you just wouldn't have noticed that his hands were, they were like that, and he wasn't
yeah,
playing. I mean, he didn't.
I've seen that loads of time in movies anyway, so it's like it's not a
Yeah,
it's not a new thing.
no, but nowadays he would have said, he's not playing really,
Yeah,
But yeah, I think it's a different generation of cinema goer, isn't it?
yeah.
You
Well, that's
know,
it. I used to go to the cinema every week as a young
yeah,
one. Even as
I,
a young adult. In my 30s, I went to
yeah,
the cinema quite a lot. Obviously with work and stuff, and uh, not having time, I didn't get to do it as often. But when I was a kid, it was like there every week without fail. It just went myself. If I wanted to
yeah,
go see a movie, I went.
yeah,
Now it's a hassle. I don't have the same. For a handful of movies, I've actually went to the cinema to see, and this channel's been going 3 years now. Over 3 years, I think. No, it'll be 3 years this Halloween. But in that time, I've only actually went to the cinema for a handful of movies. Because
yeah.
to me now, it's not the experience that it was.
No, there's no films like I get Total Film
Mm-hmm.
and try and see what's coming up, and there's no films on there that I would say gotta go to the cinema to see that. I think John Wick was one that I do like the John Wick series.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I didn't go to see the fourth one. I have to.
John Wick 4 was just really another excuse for him to fight in.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like, is this thing with a high table ever going to end? That's where I kind of,
Yeah,
by the third one, I was kind of like, really? I had no enthusiasm to go and see the fourth one. If it pops up now on streaming, I might. But honestly, it wasn't like, yeah, I gotta go see this. Where Dumb Kid, when the Arnie movie came out, I was there with bells on. Or
yeah,
God, what else? Yeah, when Freddy was appearing on the screen, I'm like, let me in there.
yeah,
Now I just don't have that same. And as you know, I watch an absolute ton of movies.
yeah.
It's worrying how many movies I watch. Now.
But again, I think movies went in the same way as music because back in the 80s, you used to get the movie and you used to think, there's a movie coming out, I want to see it.
Mm.
It's been publicized, Nightmare on Elm Street, for
Yeah.
instance. You in the promo video for Nightmare on Elm Street, you saw this bloke rubbing his hand across the thing with knives on the end, and you thought, oh my god, the trailer is scary. The film's going to be scary, and you sat in anticipation then for number 2 to come out, but it would be years.
Mm-hmm.
And you perhaps, if you went to the cinema, a film would be in the cinema for weeks and weeks and weeks. And like we said last time, back in the 70s, you got 2 films in the cinema, a B movie and the main feature. But these days, they're whacking out so many films for absolutely no reason at all that you look at what's on in the cinema and you think, it's rubbish. I wouldn't go to the cinema to see that. And
Yeah, it's turned out like TV. I think that's the best analogy. It's like TV, just
yeah,
churned out. It's become a TV channel.
yeah. and it's the same as music, because back in the 80s again, a pop star would be in the charts for weeks and weeks and weeks. I mean, Frankie Goes to Hollywood was in
I was
with
going to say,
Relax,
Brian Adams, he never left. He was
and
like a specter in the charts. He just wouldn't go away.
but these days you get a star who has a song, and you never hear from him again.
Mhm.
And you get on Apple Music, you get the UK Top 100, and it's all based on downloads, and it's always the same ones, but with the same tunes.
Yeah, well, it's
Uh,
only in pop music in particular. Like I'm a rock metal fan anyway, and I like
yeah,
electronic music, like dark sort of electronic music. But there's only like six composers for pop music. It's the same six people that do all the tunes. But what
yeah,
really put me off with digital downloads is when I found out the artists themselves. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of the like R&B type ones. Would
yeah,
buy 1,000 copies of their own song to bump it up a chart,
yeah,
and you're like, well, what's the point? It's like Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb now. They're gaming the system, so you're not getting an honest review, and the what do you call it? The critic score and the audience score are just so out of sync now.
yeah,
And then if you don't like a movie, you're called all the names of the day. It's like, oh, all right, okay. So there's no value anymore. If somebody tells you it's a great movie, you don't believe them.
no. Uh,
God, what was it?
and
That
there was
Disney
a
one? Right?
there was a film about the craze, and it was done by a certain British producer who's been controversial. I can't say his name, but if you look at the reviews on
Mm-hmm.
IMDb for this particular film, that was rubbish.
Wasn't the Tom Hardy one? It was the
No,
one that was just before that?
no, this one was starring, but they were unknown stars. It was called "The Crazed Dead Man Walking."
I don't remember that
It
one.
was it
Never
was
watched it.
about Mad Axeman, the Mad Axeman who was in Dartmoor prison, who
Mm-hmm.
they helped to escape. But then, because he was so volatile, they had to kill him off. But the film was absolutely appalling. But if you look at the reviews on um, IMDb, all the reviews are done by people who were producing the movie or who were acting in the movie, and so the score was bumping up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was all the people who were to do with the movie that was.
Yeah, and
But
that devalues that devalues the review system.
yeah,
And then once you and people aren't stupid, as much as I call people stupid on a daily basis, generally people start when something's fake,
mm,
it sort of sits in the back of your head.
yeah,
And when you're not like the whole stuff unfolding with ITV at the moment, like when you know there's fakery on and it's not genuine,
mm,
it sits there in the back of your head and like this isn't right.
yeah,
And people realize, so that's another reason why the cinema, it's fell by the wayside because you can't get honest reviews. So
yeah,
why are you going to waste your time when everyone's telling you something's good and then you go out and you find out it's because people are so emotionally invested. It's a strange thing about people, isn't it? People are terrified to read a book in case they don't like it.
yeah,
People are terrified to watch a movie in case they don't like it. It's like I don't get that level of fear. It's a strange one, but people are genuinely like that.
yeah. I
And then
mean,
when you can't trust the review system for someone to guide you and say, that's a good movie, it's a bad movie.
I
Then you
I learned my lesson because most of my mates liked the film Platoon when it came out. 87 was it, something like that?
mm, that was Charlie Sheen, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I thought it was absolutely
I
terrible.
barely remember. I hated those Vietnam movies.
But so yeah, I then thought, well, they like it, I don't. It's all to do with people's views, and it's all the same. It's like all these people who complain about television, saying, "Oh, it's really violent." Well, why watch it?
Yeah, that's I don't watch TV.
Hundreds of other channels turn over,
Yeah,
and
it's not like there's a shortage of material. That's the thing. And like we're doing, you can go back in the vault. If you don't like what's currently being produced now, take a step back in time.
yeah, and
Like this movie's still watchable. It's still enjoyable.
it is, and I would definitely watch it again.
See, we brought it back. We took it from the tangent. We brought it back because we're
Yeah,
serious. We know what we're doing in this show.
yeah, and it's a good story. It's scary, and
And at
it's
the end of this,
cast, and
when it comes to his climax, brought back, go back to the house and
the guy's walking up the stairs, and
Joseph. Yeah, that was brilliant. Actually, that was quite. In fact, it was very clever
yeah,
because he enticed him. But we also saw Senator Carmichael. He was totally in belief,
yeah,
but Joseph wasn't murdered as a young. I would understand if it was an infant,
mm. It
but
was his fellow.
How did Joseph not believe he was adopted?
Yeah,
That's a wee bit of one. Now, I know you can tell yourself a lie so much that you actually believe it. That's fair enough, but his reaction and when Russell showed him the
the
what
pendant
was it?
thing.
It wasn't
Yeah,
St. Christopher, it was another one. I don't know, I'm not.
yeah,
But he pulled out his own
yeah.
and he was actually distraught, in disbelief. But it's like, because I think Joseph was 9 or 10, wasn't he? He was like, he wasn't a baby.
No, no, he's yeah, yeah. So he must have been brought back and adopted at the age of 9 or 10. Well,
Yeah,
surely
so that's old enough. Like,
you'd
to know.
remember if you were adopted, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So his reaction, like, and that's what they did well with this. They had the public persona and the scenes, but they did well with the private scenes in this.
yeah,
So you actually got to see the character, and that, both of them, and that was one thing I really like because not a lot of movies do that.
yeah,
You actually get to see the inner workings of the character, but he was properly distraught,
yeah,
and I don't think it was about power because at the end of the day, he was on in years or something. He was closer to death than he was to life. So he had nothing really. He'd built his career.
yeah.
He was hitting retirement. Well, I don't know
He's
why
probably
America.
retired about 20 years ago, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the main. It seems to be that
Yeah,
the Americans go to the nursing home for their frigging politicians. It's weird.
yeah,
This it's because they're easier controlled or what? I don't know.
yeah. Or
Let's not start that road. Just then that's no particular party. Just all of them is just weird. You're a strange
yeah.
bunch of folks over there. Thank goodness for that big ocean.
I think the other thing as well is because he was a politician, and this proved out, he had the police in his pocket, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's where we got the same with the
Captain, what's his name? DeWitt, wasn't it?
DeWitt. Yeah,
John Colicos.
he was a cardboard. He was the only sort of cardboard cutout character. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
That was the only throwaway character in this movie. Everyone else had a purpose. He was just a bully boy, but
yeah,
that was the only sort of horrific death scene. The car actually being flipped up on its head,
yeah,
and him, and you're like, and that's what my thing is. Joseph being that powerful, was it the seance and connecting with Russell, and that's why I like the fact that it wasn't answered.
yeah,
It's something to ponder on and take something away from the movie. Did he become that powerful just by being basically unlocked because he wasn't
yeah.
able to do this before? And then the only way he was able to reach out to the Changeling, Center, was by him being confronted.
Hmm.
But yeah, that scene where he actually the astral form of Carmichael 2, let's say part B,
Yeah,
being brought to the house was really good. and then the
Yeah.
fact that it went back to him having a heart attack. Comedies are hard to trust reviews on. Yeah, I'm not a big comedy fan in general.
Um,
I,
very very rarely will I watch a comedy.
yeah, like back in the day, I was a fan of Carry On movies. Just like the campiness.
Yeah,
Uh, there's horror comedy.
strippers in
Some of
where
it
strippers or something. Isn't it?
versus where, oh god, I reviewed that was uh, every soap actor that could dig out of the vaults.
Yeah.
Uh, that was terrible.
Well, that was done by this Jonathan Sothcott as producer,
Uh-huh.
the one who was involved with the Craze film that I mentioned.
All right.
Yeah. So, do,
Oh yes, I think.
do you remember I showed? Oops, what's happened there? Do you remember I showed you that picture of that woman
All right. Yeah.
last time?
Oh yeah. 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 That was.
Yeah.
God, that was a while ago. Yeah. Not a pleasant person.
No. Um, yeah, but it was a good ending on the film. I thought, um, I did notice that on the staircase with the flames all going. 1 minute they were super duper high flames, next minute they were down to.
It was almost like a what do you call them, gas burner. Somebody went
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because it was very, very, very sort of very politely sort of.
yeah. But again, 1980, they wouldn't have known how to do it like they do these days, and probably wouldn't have had the equipment to do it.
No, it would
Uh,
have cost far too much to do.
yeah, and you had, to a certain degree, you had to use your imagination, um, and think, oh my God, But again, would we have cared about the back in 1980 about how high the flames were?
No, in fact, it still didn't care now because I was enjoying
Did I
myself.
care now? No, I just thought
It's
brilliant
just
movie.
something interesting to geek about, but it didn't ruin the movie for me.
No, I mean because the movie was good, you were concentrating more on the storyline than you were any dodgy special effects.
Hmm.
And there weren't a lot of dodgy special effects.
No, it was toned down enough. It was the atmosphere and the mystery that just it kept you going.
Yeah,
Because
yeah,
that's the problem with like the whole torture porn series. They have to get more extreme every time because they've no plot, they've no story, and no characters.
yeah.
So, God, not even starting the Saw series. That was uh, after the second one, I gave up. It was just got stupid after that. The Final Destination series, that was the same thing. It just
Uh,
the idea was good, but then they just because they had to keep ramping it up.
it was original, the first
Yeah,
one, and then it went downhill, didn't it?
yeah. And there's you could rattle off loads of movies where they have to rely on the special effects, but this one, because it's a good story and it's a mystery, and there's no the only bad guy in this is Richard Carmichael. If you think about it, the only villain, and he's not even involved in it. You know what I mean? He's long gone.
Yeah,
He's not actually a player because even the Changeling himself wasn't a bad person.
no, no.
He was a victim of circumstance, like 10 years old, and he didn't know what happened really.
Mm.
It's not like I don't think Richard came up to him and went, "Listen, I just murdered my son, and I'm going to adopt you. Are you okay with that?" Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean? If you step out of line, you're next, and I've got your replacement lined up. So does that
yeah,
make even the Changeling himself is not a bad character. Joseph isn't a bad character. All his crime was being sick and not fitting up the standards. So he's a victim. The
He, he,
Changeling
was,
victim.
he was killed at an age when he couldn't have been a bad person, could he?
Yeah,
So,
just
uh,
as I said,
you
he
know,
was.
we were saying about the age of the senators.
Mhm.
Quite ironic, really, that the actor who played the senator died the year after the movie was made,
That's
and he was 80 years old.
wow.
Yeah, um, quite a well-known actor, Melvin Douglas.
I was honestly, I was looking him up.
He's an Oscar
Because,
winner.
yeah, like big 1920s, massive. He's almost like Sinatra level.
Yeah. What's his
I was wondering if he's part of the Douglas family, but he's not. He's completely. It's just a coincidence. The surnames.
name? He played alongside Greta Garbo. I've heard the
Mm.
name.
Greta Garbo.
Yeah,
Yeah, she. God, what was it? She was in films with Sinatra.
yeah,
Um, she. Bloody hell. Gone. Sorry.
yeah. Yeah. So quite a catch, really, for us to have such a classical actor as Melvin Douglas. Um,
He played his role brilliantly.
yeah, he played his age, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. He
Um, it's,
talking of 80-year-old actors. God, I'm not obviously I'm no interest in watching it, but Harrison Ford, what's he playing at?
he's doing
It's like,
another
mate, it's like don't do it. Just
what's it called?
Indiana Jones, or yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Um,
like how's that going to be good?
he must be, was he
He's
80?
80, he's 80, 81. Yeah, he's in the series.
Yeah. But saying that, Clint Eastwood, he's 92 now, isn't he?
Yeah, he did a they've just unveiled a set of stat figurines.
Yeah.
And I saw him doing he was going to the company to actually look at the figurines of all his characters.
Yeah.
He's sharp as a tack. The only person I'd like to see in their like 90s in a movie again would be William Shatner. He is sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
I'd like to
See,
see William Shatner in one last movie.
I would like to see Gene Hackman back. I'm a
Oh, I miss
big
him.
Gene Hackman
Oh,
fan.
Gene. No, oh, sorry, I'm thinking Gene Wilder. Gene Hackman's still about, isn't he?
No, he did his last film in 2000
No, but he's still around, isn't he?
Oh, he's still alive. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah. He gave up.
Oh God, what was that? Him and Denzel Washington, the one in the submarine.
Oh, Crimson. No,
What was Crimson Tide? Wasn't it no?
it wasn't Crimson Tide, was it?
They got
Oh,
the conflicting orders about launching the nukes, and it started the
yeah,
whole.
yeah, yeah. Melvin Douglas is quite a well-known. He's done
Mhm.
absolutely tens of hundreds of films. Um,
And just to finish off, the last scene when they all rush into the house. I love the way you can just walk into a Sanders house and pass the security and stuff. That's brilliant. But I was expecting the I was expecting the stretcher. I was expecting the setup.
yeah,
I think I've been watching too many horror movies of the Halloween series. I was 100% the way they brought him down and they had the blanket covering him. And why did they put that? Well, obviously here in the UK, you don't go in an ambulance, you go in a private ambulance,
yeah.
and it's done quietly, but they're they're bumping him down the step. It was brilliant. Bump, 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 bump.
If he
And
didn't die at one thing, he would have died at the other.
it's like, quick to the necromancer. It was like they must have a necromancy department in the hospitals.
Yeah,
But I was 100% expecting that body to set up.
yeah,
Just the way, I think it was just the way they'd done it. It was like, but that would have ruined the movie. But yeah, the whole chaos of that happening, just,
yeah.
I don't, maybe it's the way to stretch it, but I think that should have been done a bit more dignified. That he was gone. That was it.
Yeah. So out of 10, what would you rate it then?
Oh God, I don't.
I'd probably
I'd
go
give it
for
an 8
yeah, I would go 7.
because I genuinely enjoyed this. I actually, I wasn't sitting going, okay, can we get this? But I was genuinely interested in the plot as it unfolded, and
Yeah,
that's like I said, it's rare for movies
yeah,
for me to actually go, oh right, we're uncovering a mystery here, right? What's he going to do next? Oh right, he's confronted them and it's fell flat. What's he going to do now? And then
yeah.
the ghost getting frustrated. You know what I mean? It was brilliant character acting and
He,
storytelling together, which
he was hitting his head against a brick wall to a certain degree, wasn't he? Because no one was playing ball with him. But
yeah, but how do you do that?
yeah,
If you
yeah,
were in the same situation, you'd have the same problem, especially against somebody powerful.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
that's the
That's
review.
that's the Changeling. Watch it.
Yeah, links in the description, all that good stuff, and yeah, definitely worth a visit.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yep. And before we go, what are you up to at the moment, Steve? Anything coming out?
I'm sort of halfway through my book Stalker. um, quite a twist in the story from the outset on this one because the main protagonist is he was assaulted by a gang of school kids um, back 3 years previous, and now he's going to university. He comes across some of the people that were that assaulted him and ridiculed him because he was overweight. He was nearly 20 stone in weight as a 15-year-old. And he comes across one of the girls that arranged for him to be picked on, and he starts following her around and stalking her. But one by one, all the people that did ridicule him were disappearing. But you don't know if it's him doing it or someone else, because he seems to have an alibi for every time one of the girls who originally ridiculed him and assaulted him disappear. So it's yeah, it's taken a lot of research into stalking, and
I'd be a terrible stalker. I'd forget that my victim would have to remind me every so often to stalk them again because I get distracted doing other stuff.
yeah,
I'd be the worst stalker in the world.
a lot of it's all to do with infatuation, and it can go that one step further with the stalker thinking, well, if I can't have them, no one else is having them, and that's when they turn to murder. So yeah, that's about halfway through at the moment.
Is that offer still on for all your collection?
Yeah, it's until Amazon put their prices up because Amazon have increased their printing costs.
Yeah, I noticed I'm going to have to update my bloody books.
Yeah, so
quid them. God, that's annoying.
yeah, I mean, I've tried to keep it down as much as possible, but
yeah, I do the same because I'm more interested in people actually just reading as opposed to making. It's the same with our merch and stuff. I dial it right down on spring to the minimum because it's not about somebody buys a shirt and make loads of money. It's about getting trying to give something out there, and hopefully people enjoy it. It's
so but
Steve's link as well to his website's in the description as well. So obviously make sure you check Steve out and his work.
That problem I told you about on Facebook about the MP who well, quite recently he's got his wife to read all my books on all of them on
did they take up the offer? I can get all my books right thing.
So He wants to make sure that I've got nothing else.
Isn't he involved with the armed forces? Isn't he the
Yeah,
defenseman? Or
he was. He got sacked, didn't he?
is he not back doing it again?
I don't know.
He wasn't.
Uh,
He wasn't great at it. He didn't really care.
mm.
But that's not good down that rabbit hole of sleazy politicians because they're all fucking arseholes.
Thank you, Colin. That's been a
No,
pleasure being with you again.
and thanks for coming on. Always appreciate it. It's great that it's rather me staring into the camera, just talking. It's nice to have chat and enjoy these things, and also good choice, definitely.
Yeah.
And let's poke at Gaz. Let's get him on. Let's talk about some horror music, baby.
I'm trying to think what it's called now. Black, white, and red, or something like that.
Yep. Well, we'll get that'll be the next one. We'll get that organized soon.
Yeah, I'll send him a message now. And,
Yep.
say we want to do a review of the film. But
yeah, because it's fun. That's
yeah. Okay.
Then we could talk about do a wee segment into the music of horror because that's something that's unique in itself.
Yeah.
There you go. We've got plans, folks. There you go. We don't just make us up in the spot. As we're talking.
Don't forget the Dracula thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, we've still got 60 movies.
Yeah, I know. I was looking. I was thinking the suggestion was good, but
How does
that's
trying to
gonna
categorize them because obviously the original telling, like Bram Stoker-esque type Dracula movies. There's reimaginings. There's comedy. There's a couple of comedy Dracula ones. But then where do the rest? Like, there's loads of weird ones as well. Where do they all fit in?
Yeah, I know. And I'm trying to think of the name of the actor. I just wouldn't have believed it was. What's he called? I just wouldn't have believed him as Dracula, and he was Dracula in a film. And there's some films I've never even knew were out there.
Yeah, there's no shortage.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be a long one though. That's gonna be a couple of hours stream. I think might have to do it at the weekend.
Yeah. Have a week of Dracula.
I think we'll have to get Andy on. He's good at the vampires. Might have to try and poke at Andy. Both. Yeah. He loves the vampire genre. I think he'd like to get involved in that one too. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be like that's gonna be especially because that's gonna take a lot of work to form up the show.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to go through.
Yeah.
There you go. Right, we've plenty on. Thanks again. Keep up the Steve and his work.
Bye,
channel. All that good stuff. Until next time, keep it creepy. Keep it horrific.